Let me paint you a picture. It's 11:47 p.m. You're in bed. You were supposed to be asleep an hour ago. Your phone screen is the only light in the room. And somehow, you've ended up on a product page. You don't remember opening the app. You don't remember searching for this. You weren't planning to buy anything tonight. But here you are, one thumb hovering over a glowing orange button that says, Add to cart, and the little voice in your head, the rational one, the one that knows your rent is due next week. That voice is getting quieter by the second. You click it, and just like that, $89 you didn't plan to spend is gone. Sound familiar? If you've ever done something like this, and I promise you, almost every single person watching this has, I don't want you to feel ashamed. I want you to feel curious, because what just happened to you in that moment had nothing to do with weakness. It had nothing to do with being bad with money. What happened was psychology. And the really unsettling part, it was engineered. Here's the first thing. I need you to understand, and this might be the most important thing I say in this entire video. Impulse spending is not a character flaw. In America, we've been sold this idea, sometimes literally sold it, by the same companies that profit from our spending. That if you're bad with money, you just lack discipline. You're impulsive. You're irresponsible. You need to try harder. That narrative is not only wrong, it's convenient. It's convenient for every retailer, every app, every subscription service, and every e-commerce platform whose entire business model depends on you spending money you weren't planning to spend. The truth is this: you are not fighting your own weakness. You are fighting billion-dollar systems designed by the smartest behavioral scientists, UX researchers, and cognitive psychologists on the planet. Systems that have been A/B tested, iterated, and optimized over decades with one singular goal: to get you to click before your brain has a chance to say no. So the first step isn't discipline. The first step is awareness, and that's exactly what we're building today. Let's start with your brain, because this is where everything begins. You've probably heard of dopamine. Most people think of it as the pleasure chemical, the thing your brain releases when something good happens, when you eat your favorite food, when you fall in love, when your team wins the game. But here's what neuroscience has actually discovered, and it's wild. Dopamine isn't released when you get the reward. It's released when you anticipate it. This was first discovered by a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz in the 1990s. He was studying monkeys, specifically watching their brain activity when they received a juice reward. And what he found turned the scientific world upside down. The biggest dopamine spike didn't happen when the monkey got the juice. It happened the moment the monkey knew the juice was coming. Your brain is that monkey, and online shopping is the juice. Think about the exact feeling of scrolling through a store, Amazon, ASOS, Best Buy. Doesn't matter. And you find something that catches your eye. There's this little ping of excitement, a slight elevation in your mood, a sense of possibility. That's dopamine, and it's firing because your brain is already playing out the scenario of having that thing, you owning it, you using it, you enjoying it. Here's the brutal part. The dopamine is already gone right By the time the package arrives, this is why unboxing videos exist. This is why people impulse buy things and then lose interest in them completely within 48 hours. It's not because you're fickle, it's because the neurochemical reward was baked into the anticipation, not the reality. Once reality arrives, the dopamine has long since moved on to the next scroll, the next product, the next hit of maybe this one. You're not buying objects, you're buying the feeling of wanting. And the entire e-commerce industry is built on making that loop spin as fast as possible. Now let's talk about the weapons they use to pull you deeper into that loop, because it's not enough that your brain is wired for anticipation. Smart retailers need to accelerate it. They need to quiet your rational brain, the part of your prefrontal cortex that does long-term thinking, cost-benefit analysis, and basic math, before it has time to pump the brakes. So they use triggers, and once you learn to spot them, you will never see a product page the same way again. Trigger 1, scarcity. Only 3 left in stock. Just 2 remaining at this price. Selling fast. Only 1 left. Scarcity is one of the oldest psychological tricks in human history. Our brains are hardwired to want things more when they're rare. This goes back 200,000 years to when scarcity meant survival. If food was running out, you grabbed it now, or you went hungry. Retailers hijack that instinct. And here's the dirty secret. The only 3 left counter is frequently fabricated. Multiple studies, FTC investigations, and former Amazon employees have confirmed that low stock warnings are sometimes just there to create urgency, not because inventory is actually running out. Trigger 2, artificial urgency. Sale ends in 4/37/12. This deal expires at midnight. Flash sale, 2 hours only. The countdown timer is a masterpiece, like of psychological warfare. It does 2 things simultaneously. It creates a sense of threat. You'll lose something if you wait, and it hijacks your attention loop, making it almost impossible to think about anything else. Research in behavioral economics shows that when people operate under time pressure, they default to emotional decision-making rather than logical evaluation. The timer literally makes you dumber, not because you're unintelligent, but because your brain shifts from analytical mode to reactive mode. And that's the exact mode they need you in to click. Buy. Trigger 3, social proof. 1,247 people bought this today. This product changed my life. Jennifer R., Ohio. 17 people are looking at this right now. Humans are fundamentally made as social creatures. When we're uncertain about a decision, we look to other people for confirmation. This is called herd behavior, and it's not stupidity. It's an evolutionarily sound strategy. In most cases, if everyone around you is running, you should probably run too. Retailers weaponize this by making products look universally beloved, universally desired, and universally validated. Reviews are curated, testimonials are cherry-picked. That 17 people are viewing this notification? It might be real. It might be a script. You have no way to know. What you do know is how it makes you feel, like everyone else already figured out that this is worth having. And you're the one falling behind. All right, we've talked about dopamine, we've talked about scarcity and urgency and social proof, but I've saved the most important insight for right here because this is the one that goes deepest. This is the one that explains not just impulse purchases, but entire spending patterns, entire lifestyles, entire financial identities. You are not buying products. You are buying versions of yourself. Let me say that again, because I want it to land. Every single purchase you make that you didn't plan, the luxury watch, the leather jacket, the fitness equipment you haven't touched in 8 months, the online course you never finished, every single one of those purchases was actually a purchase of a self-concept. When you buy the watch, you're not buying the watch. You're buying the version of you who has a watch like that. The successful one, the one who made it, the one who walks into a room and people notice. When you buy the fitness gear, you're buying the version of you who wakes up at 5 a.m. and works out before the rest of the world is awake, disciplined, dedicated, in control. And when you buy that online course on passive income or real estate or whatever it is, you're buying the version of you who finally figured it out, the one who's building something, the one who doesn't have to trade time for money anymore. And marketers know this. They study it. It's called aspirational identity marketing, and it's the most sophisticated, most effective, most psychologically devastating form of advertising ever devised. Look at any major ad campaign. They're not selling you a product. They're selling you a mirror, a reflection of who you could be if you just bought this thing. Nike doesn't sell shoes. They sell the athlete inside you. Apple doesn't sell laptops. They sell the creative genius who thinks different. The dream is real. The product is just the ticket they're selling to get there. And for a moment after you buy, for a brief, glittering moment, it feels like it worked. You feel different, more capable, more like the person you want to be. Until the package arrives and you realize you're still you. The watch is beautiful. The gym bag is sitting in the corner. The course is 4% complete and the money is gone. So what do? You can't rewire your brain. You can't opt out of the entire economy. You can't stop wanting things, but you can learn to pause. And the pause is everything. Here's why. The entire trigger system, scarcity, urgency, social proof, identity, it only works when you act fast. Every single one of those tactics is designed to compress your decision window to near zero. Because a person who waits 24 hours before buying something almost never impulse buys it. So the single most powerful financial move you can make is to install a waiting period between desire and decision. For anything you didn't plan to buy, put it in your cart, then close the tab, come back in 24 hours. That's it. That's the whole system. If you still want it the next day, genuinely want it, not just remember that you put it in your cart, then maybe it's worth buying. But 9 times out of 10, you won't even remember what it was. The second tool is a question. One question that I want you to ask before every unplanned purchase. Do I need this, or do I just want the feeling it gives me? Write it down. Make it your phone wallpaper. Say it out loud if you have to. Because the moment you name the feeling, the excitement, the aspiration, the identity hit, you break the spell. you move the decision from your emotional brain back to your rational one. And your rational brain is very, very good at math. The average American household spends somewhere between $3,000 and $6,000 per year on impulse purchases. That's not lifestyle spending. That's not investment. That's money that evaporated largely through small, unplanned purchases that felt urgent in the moment and forgettable within a week. One question, asked consistently, is worth thousands of dollars every single year. Do I need this, or do I just want the feeling it gives me? Here's where I want to leave you. Impulse spending is not random. It is not weakness. It is not a personality trait you were born with. It is a system, a sophisticated, well-funded, endlessly optimized system built by some of the smartest people in the world to separate you from your money before you've had a chance to think. But systems can be learned. And once you learn them, once you see the countdown timer for what it is, once you recognize the low stock warning as the lever it is, once you catch yourself buying a feeling dressed up as a product, you can't unsee it. And that awareness is the beginning of everything, the beginning of actually building wealth instead of just earning it, the beginning of spending with intention instead of impulse, the beginning of being the one in control, not the algorithm, not the timer, not the dopamine loop. You. If this opened your eyes to something today, share it with someone who needs to hear it and drop a comment. I genuinely want to know. What's the most regrettable impulse purchase you've ever made? No judgment. We've all got one. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, because next, we're going into the specific habits quietly keeping most Americans financially stuck and what actually works instead. I'll see you there.